Dear students, let's start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 19th August 2017. The first article, Vishal Sikka quits as Infosys CEO, shares take a beating. Mr. Vishal Sikka, he was appointed by very Narayana Murthy himself, and there was a rift which is going on between the existing board and founders of Infosys on corporate governance matters. So in this context, Mr. Sikka has declared that in the environment of acquisitions, creation of value was not possible and finally resigned from the office. And because of this, the shares of Infosys took a beating and around 16,000 crores of the investors' money got evaporated. And the next article, cause for caution, not gloom. So in this article, economic scenario is being explained. It says, today's economic scenario is a cause for concern, cause for caution, but it is not a doomsday. So let's see this. One is growth. So the economic survey second volume has predicted a less than 7% economic growth. And growth, if it has to happen, investments shall flow in. The savings are decreasing and savings are not converting into investments. So increasing this can help. Along with this, there are many structural reforms which are necessary in India to facilitate the growth. And second is inflation. In India, inflation is on lower side. So there are two things we need to think about. So the prices are coming down. Our growth has decreased to such an extent that the prices, our inflation has decreased. So inflation is low, but however inflation expectations among the people are still high. So here, loan waivers, 7th pay commission recommendations, all these are expected to raise the inflation very soon. And third is exchange rate. So with regard to the exchange rate in India, the strengthening of rupee and low export demand, these are the worrisome for exporters. Now India needs to rise overall export competitiveness, and for this it has to improve the infrastructure, logistics, and also has to diversify the products and also destinations, which is quite essential. And then fiscal position of the state. The fiscal deficit of the states is widening. In this case, loan waivers are playing a very critical role. Along with that, the Ujjwal Diskam Assurance Yojana, which was launched by central government, is to regain the health of the distribution companies, electricity distribution companies, and they have the debt to the tune of 3 lakh crore rupees. Though the state governments has to take this debt onto their head, it will not be reflected on the fiscal deficit. So this out of budget things also, if taken into consideration, most of the states are clearly an example for fiscal indiscipline. And then with regard to the banking sector and the private sector, double balance sheet problem is still existing. Non-performance assets, lack of profitability in certain key sectors, especially telecom sector, power sector, steel, these are hurting the economy the worst. And employment generation is also not as expected. Prime Minister Modi has promised for 2 crores of jobs every year, but they are less than 15 lakhs which are being generated. On the other side, positive side, if you carefully observe, many reforms have been brought in. Ease of doing business, it has been raised. It means the processes are being simplified. Second, GST, all these are supposed to take shape and they have to show their impact on the economy. Agricultural reforms, targeted capital expenditure, improving ease of doing business, removing infrastructure bottlenecks, and these are integral for a coherent action in India to make it to move outside this particular slump. Next is getting charged up. So you know that the electric vehicles, these are becoming the future transport mode across the world. Tesla has revolutionized this. So in this case, India also is expected to change. And India brought in one plan or mission that is called National Electric Mobility Mission Plan. According to this, India wants to produce 5 to 7 millions of electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles annually by 2020. So, if so many electric vehicles need to be produced, two critical factors are the charging infrastructure. As of now, we have the petroleum outlets wherever we want to fill in. So here, providing for the batteries that gives the energy for a long duration and creating the charging stations is very critical. So the lithium ion batteries, these are mostly located in the South America and also in China. China has made agreements with the countries like Chile, Argentina to have access to this mineral. And Tesla also has got strong agreements with these countries. Though India has a preferential trade agreement with Chile, it never focused on these particular rechargeable batteries, that is Li-ion batteries. In these circumstances, unless India breaks down these two, India cannot shift its transport mode in the future. That's what this article talks. Barcelona horror. The lone wolf attacks, these are increasing across the world, and Europe was particularly vulnerable for the same. So here, Spain got attacked with this lone wolf. And second is, as in Syria and Iraq, the ISIS space is decreasing. The more and more space, or as more and more lone wolf attacks are increasing across the Europe, we need to find the connection between the two. And then, let's go to the disease that won't go away. It is about Kala Azar or Dum Dum fever, it is called as. Because it is in the Dum Dum area near Kolkata where the airport, Subhash Chandra Bose airport lies. So this is caused by a parasite. So remember, the Dum Dum fever is caused by parasite Leishmania donovani. So that's what we can have a question for. And there will be cutaneous symptoms. So, and also this is going to be, this is supposed to be removed from India under the vector-borne control program, and the prognosis is not very good on this front. So remember, Kala Azar is a parasite disease for the prelims. Now, China bristles at Japan remarks on Doklam. So there is one outright support to India which is received from Japan. This was objected by China too. So that is what is a natural expectation. And the next is the drive against ultras is success. These are all the not very much important news. And then lack of diagnostic facilities forces doctor to do guesswork. It shows having cheaper medicines, quality diagnosis, human resources. These are the three factors that determine the health for all. That is what this article talks about. NHRC issues notices on Rohingyas. You know, Rohingyas are the stateless citizens in Myanmar. So these people are not recognized as the citizens by the Myanmar state. So these are migrating to different countries. And Rohingya crisis has attracted the Human Rights Council too. So many of these Rohingyas have also entered into India, and India wants to send them back. So here NHRC asked for a report. UN Human Rights Council also has objected to the same. Now coming to the world, Steve Bannon, who is alt-right group, or else who is white supremacist group and team of Mr. Trump, is moving out of the White House. And the next is the naval officer for the first time is from Tamilian, is first time from Tamils in Sri Lanka after 1970. And neighbors vary as Doklam crisis drag on. So the Doklam standoff between India and China is continuing. In this scenario, it is expected to have spillover in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and neighbors have their own concerns for the instability in the region. Last page, I gave you the notes, and this notes is available to you at lax.in/civils prep. Thank you very much and all the best.